The clock struck midnight, and Maria sat on the edge of her bed, tears streaming down her face. The eviction notice lay crumpled on the kitchen table, a harsh reminder of her reality. With no steady job and bills piling up, she felt that the walls were closing in. As she looked at her sleeping son, cradled under a patchwork quilt, a deep sense of despair washed over her. "God, please," she whispered, clutching her hands together. "I need a miracle." She closed her eyes, envisioning a better life for her son, far away from the anxiety that clouded her every waking moment. Days turned to weeks, and the weight of uncertainty pressed down on her. The eviction date loomed closer, and desperation gnawed at her heart. She took on odd jobs, cleaning houses and babysitting, but each paycheck seemed to vanish before it could provide any relief. The worry lines on her forehead deepened, and she felt more alone than ever. One rainy evening, Maria was hurriedly pushing a stroller through the damp streets after finishing a job. She barely noticed the woman who stood under an awning, her eyes scanning the downpour for someone. Suddenly, the woman stepped forward, her raincoat flapping against the wind. "Excuse me," she called out, her voice warm and inviting. "You look like you could use some help." Maria hesitated, instinctively taking a step back. "I'm fine, thank you," she replied, trying to sound more confident than she felt. But the woman smiled, her eyes sparkling. "I'm just offering to share an umbrella. You don't have to face the storm alone." With a reluctant nod, Maria approached. As they stood close, shielding themselves from the rain, the woman introduced herself as Grace. They chatted briefly, and Maria felt a spark of connection, a flicker of hope in her dark world. Grace listened intently as Maria revealed her struggles, and for the first time in months, Maria felt seen. After a heartfelt conversation, Grace offered her a part-time job at her small boutique. "I can't pay much, but it's a start," she said, "and I believe in you." Maria's heart raced. "Really? I don't want to impose." Grace shook her head. "Not an imposition, just a chance to help each other. You're stronger than you think." As Maria began working at the boutique, she found herself surrounded by vibrant colors and laughter. Each day, she learned something new, and for the first time, she felt a sense of belonging. With Grace's encouragement, Maria started to believe in her abilities again. The clouds of her life were beginning to lift. One evening, as she was closing the shop, Maria noticed a small journal tucked beneath a pile of fabric. She hesitated, but curiosity got the better of her. Flipping through the pages, she discovered thoughts and prayers jotted down by the previous owner. It was intimate, vulnerable, and she felt a connection to the words. "God, show me the way," one entry read. "I trust you to provide for me." She couldn't help but feel a sense of kinship with the anonymous writer. Maria quietly slipped the journal into her bag, deciding to carry it home as a source of inspiration. Days turned into weeks, and Maria continued to work hard, saving every penny she could. But as eviction day approached, anxiety crept back in. One night she sat on her bed, clutching the journal, her heart heavy. She opened it randomly, hoping for guidance. Her eyes landed on another entry. "Sometimes the answer is not what you expect. Trust the journey." Tears filled her eyes. "But what if there's no answer?" she cried out to the empty room. She felt the crushing weight of hopelessness again, the fear that nothing would change. Just then, a soft knock interrupted her thoughts. It was Grace. "I brought you dinner," she said, her voice laced with kindness. They sat together, Maria pouring out her fears, unsure of what to do next. Grace listened, her presence a comforting balm to Maria's aching heart. "Remember," Grace said gently, "sometimes we need to let go to make space for miracles. Just keep trusting." Maria nodded, but doubt lingered. As she cleaned up the dishes, she felt a flicker of something. Was it hope, or was it desperation? She couldn't tell, but deep inside, she knew she had to keep pushing forward. The following day, Maria found herself standing before her landlord, shaking and terrified. "I'm so sorry, but I can't pay rent this month," she stammered. The landlord's face hardened, and for a moment she was sure she'd hear the words that would end it all. But instead he sighed deeply. "I understand struggles, Maria, but I can't keep giving you extensions." With a lump in her throat, she thanked him, feeling small as she stepped back into the street. The rain began to pour again, and she found herself walking aimlessly, the journal clutched tightly in her hand. Each droplet felt like a reminder of her impending loss. That night, she lay in bed, eyes wide open as the shadows danced on the walls. She felt an unbearable loneliness, a chasm of despair threatening to swallow her whole. Then she remembered Grace's words, "Trust the journey." And so, she prayed again. "God, I don't know what to do. Please help me." The next day, while at the boutique, a customer came in wearing a bright smile. Maria served her with the same warmth she'd begun to cultivate. The woman complimented her on her knowledge of style and how she made shopping so much easier. "Actually," the woman said as she gathered her purchases, "I'm looking for someone to help me organize a charity event. Would you be interested?" Maria felt the weight of her past crash against the excitement of this new possibility. I could help," she replied, though disbelief filled her voice. As the days passed, Maria immersed herself in the event planning, pouring her heart into it. Each late night spent working felt like a step toward a new chapter. With every connection, she felt a sliver of hope creeping back in, a promise of something more. On the day of the charity event, as the venue filled with laughter and joy, Maria stood at the entrance, her heart racing. She scanned the crowd, full of people grateful for the community that came together. And then she saw him, a man disheveled yet determined, standing alone at the edge, clutching a paper. As he stepped forward, the crowd parted, and Maria could see the fear in his eyes. "I'm not sure if I'm in the right place," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "You are," Maria replied, encouraging him. "Come in." The event unfolded beautifully. People mingled, shared stories, and hope filled the air. But Maria's attention kept drifting back to the man. She watched as he opened his paper, revealing a heartfelt letter. He shared his struggles with losing his job, the eviction notice he had received, and the fear of losing everything. As he spoke, Maria felt the weight of her own struggles weighing on her, but also the connection of shared experiences. She stepped forward, feeling compelled to share her own story. "I know how you feel," she said, her heart pounding. "I was facing eviction too, but miracles happen." The room fell silent, all eyes on her. "Sometimes we don't see a way out, but trust that you're not alone." The man's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you," he whispered, and in that moment Maria felt a warmth wash over her, a connection that transcended their hardships. Weeks later, the charity event raised enough funds not only to help those in need, but also to provide a space for those like Maria and the man to come together, to share their stories and to find support. As they moved forward, Maria discovered something she hadn't anticipated. In helping others, she found healing in herself. She realized that the journey she had taken wasn't alone. It was filled with moments where she felt the presence of something greater guiding her. One afternoon, as she took a quiet moment in her living room, the journal lay open on her lap. She flipped through the pages and landed on a final entry. "Jesus, I've felt lost, but I know you're with me." And suddenly, everything clicked into place. The struggles, the strange encounters, the kindness of strangers. Each moment was a thread weaving together her story. She wasn't just a single mother fighting for her son. She was a part of something larger than herself. With tears streaming down her face, she whispered, "Thank you, Jesus. You were always with me." In that moment, she understood that the miracle she had prayed for had been there all along, waiting for her to embrace it. And as she held her son close that night, nothing felt more certain than this. Hope had found a way to bloom in the unlikeliest of places.